So it's been a while since we took a look at some Roccat products on the channel, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at the Vulcan 2 Max as well as the Vulcan 2 Mini. So we have a new 65% form factor keyboard as well as a brand new full-size keyboard from Roccat that features their Titan optical switches that will give you some reasonably quick actuations at 1.4 millimeters, and it's an optical switch, so it will give you really great response times in game. The thing is, do you need a keyboard this big? And if you do, what do you get for ordering the Vulcan 2 Max? One feature that you will see on the box of both of these products is that Roccat now offers dual LED function in these keyboard LEDs. So basically you have your LED for your RGB lights at the top of the key switch, and then inside of the key switch you have another secondary LED that will illuminate to let you know when that secondary function is active. Now outside of that, Roccat, they could improve a little bit more because these things are a little pricey. $229 for the full-size Roccat Vulcan 2 Max, and then also $149 for the Vulcan 2 Mini. That is a little steep considering the fact that you guys don't include double shot PBT keycaps, and it's nice that I can swap them out and use whatever I want, but that also incurs extra cost if I was just planning on purchasing a gaming keyboard strictly to plug it up when I get home and immediately start gaming or typing away or doing whatever I'm doing with the board. The fact that they don't include the industry standard quality of keycaps with the purchase of these two expensive keyboards is a huge knock for me. If you're fine with that and you like the design and the aesthetics of them, then by all means. As far as other functionality, mainly with the Max, you're going to have these dedicated media keys up here. You're also going to have this RGB wrist rest that is also included with the purchase of the Max. You don't have that on the Mini, and I think that it looks really good. You got a line of LEDs right here, and once you connect the wrist rest, it will now display those LEDs through this translucent piece of rubber that is actually really comfortable to type on. And if you use the tilt angles for this keyboard, it makes it a lot more usable. But just using the keyboard with my hand on my desk without the wrist rest is pretty daunting and not very comfortable. Now, if you are a first-person shooter or competitive gamer, between these two options, I would definitely go with the smaller mini version because you're just gonna have a lot more space on your desk to use as a mouse pad. But personally, the Max is a very cool looking productivity keyboard. If the keycaps were double shot PBT, I would lean a lot more toward recommending the Max, but for $230 and I gotta buy keycaps, that just seems expensive in my opinion, especially since keycaps nowadays for decent ones are like $50 and up. So now you're looking at spending almost $300 to have a keyboard that not only looks premium, but also feels premium. Now, as far as the sound, these keyboards, they do sound pretty decent. They're not very hollow sounding in my opinion. I do think that the stabilizers are done okay. They're a little inconsistent though, because I just don't think that they sound that great. Like these three were great, but, and you could use a little bit more lube from the factory. And same, you use a little bit more lube, but overall 3 out of 5, not bad. Let's try it again on the Mini. On the Mini, I would say that this is like a 2 out of 4 situation, so they could use a little bit more work from the factory with getting a little bit more consistent lube job done on the stabilizers. RGB performance on this keyboard looks really good. The performance of the optical switches is really good as well. The sound coming from the keyboard is very good, especially for the price of $150. I think this is probably one of the better $150 keyboards that I've heard, being in the Mini specifically. The $230 one may be a slightly different story. I think that Roccat did a pretty good job. These keyboards, with the fact that they don't come with nice keycaps that other premium options are now starting to come with more frequently, since they don't use those premium keycaps, I think that these should cost a little bit less. Like this keyboard, the Mini, I think should be around $120, I would say is a much more fair price for the Vulcan 2 Mini. And then for the Vulcan 2 Max, I think that about $189 is a much more fair price for this keyboard as well. Being well over $200 is a bit of a tough sell for me, especially because like it's an optical keyboard and it looks great and this is pretty unique. But what if you're not the kind of person that's going to use a wrist rest at all? Now you don't have value from this at all. Like, you know, you have the LED still shining, but you don't really get the extra flair that the wrist rest gives you if you're not one of those people that tend to like to use those things. Now, personally, between the two, since I don't really find myself needing a full-size keyboard next to never, if I'm working from home, maybe I would consider using this keyboard, but it would be really tough to use for gaming just because of the size. You know which layout you need best. They also do offer a TKL version as well, so you can take a look at all the different layouts and pick the best one for you. But otherwise, I think that these keyboards just need a serious price drop. And after that, I think that they're a very easy recommendation if you just want a pretty safe option for a good feeling linear keyboard that you can customize a little bit. But for the higher price they're asking right now, a little bit of a tough sell.